Rawteur. In this new documentary, the cameras will be rolling as Pras Michel awaits a potential 22-year prison sentence. He's been convicted in a $4.5 billion money laundering case that stretches from Hollywood all the way to Malaysia. And now, Mark Wahlberg's production banner, Unrealistic Ideas, is turning that story into what's being described as a spy thriller-style documentary. Think Citizen 4. The twist is that it's being co-produced by Pras's own team, giving him unprecedented control over how his story is told. I mean, already you can kind of see the built-in conflict there, right? The bias isn't going to be hidden, it's baked in. The film's point of view is clear. Pras as the misunderstood man caught in a billion-dollar web. Now, I know a lot of you here are documentary fans, so I wanted to get ahead of the spin, or any potential spin. So I pulled the indictment myself, dug through the filings, and what I found was a story peppered with accusations, foreign money, and a bunch of famous names like Barack Obama, Leonardo DiCaprio, Paris Hilton, Jamie Foxx, even Donald Trump. See, Pras was allegedly the middleman who helped move the stolen $4.5 billion into the hands of Hollywood celebrities and producers, as well as an attempt to bribe the Trump administration, which is exactly what turned this from a white-collar crime story into something closer to a spy thriller. Now, if Hollywood and US politicians were on one side and Pras was the go-between, who was on the other end passing the money? Well, that's where Jolo comes in. He's a Malaysian businessman who managed to steal billions from his country's sovereign wealth fund. The fund was known as 1MDB. The fund was meant to develop Malaysia's infrastructure and economy, but Jolo treated it like his personal ATM. He siphoned off billions through shell companies, and that money went everywhere. Luxury real estate, yachts, Picasso paintings, even financing the movie The Wolf of Wall Street. And, obviously, that's where Leo comes in. He even testified in the trial. Now, Jolo used that stolen money to buy his way into Hollywood. He hosted wild parties with DiCaprio, Hilton, and, Jamie Foxx, amongst others. He became a major backer in the film industry, and for a while, nobody questioned where the money was coming from. But when investigators finally traced the cash, it connected the Malaysian government fund and this fugitive billionaire, and then somehow a Grammy Award-winning rapper-producer from New Jersey being Pras. So how does one of the founding members of the rap group the Fugees end up mixed in with billionaires, foreign governments, and the US Department of Justice? Well, according to court documents, it started around 2012. Jolo wanted influence in American politics, specifically access to Barack Obama's re-election campaign. But as a foreign national, he couldn't legally donate. So prosecutors say he turned to Pras Michel, who acted as his middleman. Pras allegedly took more than $20 million from Low and spread it across 20 or so straw donors. So basically these were people who donated to Barack Obama's campaign using their own names and then quietly got reimbursed later with Jolo's money. It was one of the biggest illegal campaign financing schemes in US history. So money stolen from Malaysia funneled into an American election. Then, years later, after Donald Trump took office the first time, Jolo came back to Pras with another mission. This time, it wasn't about elections. It was about survival. See, Jolo was under investigation for the 1MDB money laundering, the theft that he had committed in stealing all this money. And he wanted Pras to help make the problem go away. So Pras allegedly helped organize a secret lobbying effort to convince the Trump administration to drop the 1MDB probe and to send a Chinese dissident named Gu Wengu, I believe, or Guo Wengui. I had to stop to look it up. All right. So, like I said, the he was lobbying President Trump to send Guo Wengui back to China. Now, prosecutors said that Pras and his associates even tried to reach out to President Trump to his officials through back channels. That would include meetings, through donations that they would make, and just passing by conversations. And that actually crossed into foreign agent territory. So by this point, the FBI had been calling it one of the strangest influence operations they'd ever seen. You got a hip hop star turned political middleman moving between world leaders and Hollywood producers. I mean, that's the government's version anyway. The one that landed him 10 federal convictions. But Pras has his own version. It's a lot less like a spy thriller and more like a misunderstanding that spiraled out of control. His defense argued that he wasn't a criminal mastermind. He was a musician caught in something far bigger than even he understood. They claimed he didn't intend to break the law, that he was just helping a friend, not acting as a foreign agent. In his mind, he was brokering opportunities, not laundering money. I mean, this kind of reminds me of, something a bit separate, but when California originally passed when California originally started to legalize medical marijuana, one of Jay-Z's friends, his name is Kareem Burke, he's one of the original founders of Rockefeller Records with Jay-Z back in the day. He connected someone who was a grower with someone who was a buyer. And because he did that connection, he got caught up in, I forget what I think it was, he got a conspiracy charge and he ended up getting sentenced to like 5 or 10 years or so. I'm not sure what his conviction was, but this happens a lot when, people are playing the middleman and he didn't even pass money. He was just connecting people and he ended up serving time. So, Pras, back to the story, Pras said that he had relied on lawyers and accountants who told him what he was doing was legal. And, as we see all the time with Hollywood, people always say, oh, my accountant was paying my taxes, this person, like, the courts don't care about that stuff. They're always going to blame you and you're still going to go to jail. I guess they say ignorance of the law is no excuse. So Pras admitted to moving the money and even to paying donors, but he insisted he didn't know it was against the law. To him, it was just networking, politics at the celebrity level. And that honestly became the core of his defense. Admit the facts, deny the intent. Paint himself not as a conspirator, but as a middleman out of depth, right? He was just someone who stumbled into the crossfire between billionaires, governments, and power brokers. His team even suggested that he became the fall guy for bigger players, Jolo, Chinese businessmen, even U.S. lobbyists who walked away untouched. Pras was the only one who got convicted. He's not in jail yet, and that will take place over the course of this documentary, right? His defense argued that the government made an example out of Pras because of his name, his status, and not necessarily his role in this case. Then, after the conviction, the story somehow got even stranger. Pras filed a motion for a new trial, claiming that his lawyer had used an AI program to write parts of his closing argument. I'm trying not to laugh, but that just sounds ridiculous. But, AI use is becoming more and more ubiquitous. So these are the things that you kind of gotta, you're gonna hear a lot more of these stories, right? Quick aside, back to the accountant thing, people are gonna say, oh, I trusted the AI accountant, so I don't know, it messed up. You're still going to get in trouble, I think, unless something passes. Anyway, so they basically said that the AI misquoted lyrics. They called a P. Diddy song a Fugees track, and the defense barely edited it. That was just basically showing proof. But, the judge denied the motion, and the whole thing added just another layer of irony. A man accused of helping script an international political drama, now claiming his own defense was scripted by a computer. Now, while Pras awaits sentencing and fights his conviction, the cameras are rolling already, right? They're capturing the next chapter of his life in real time. And he's not just the subject, he's part of the production. His own team, as I said, is co-producing the documentary, including his publicist, giving him direct control over how he's being portrayed. That's the real tension here. The film is being prompted as unfiltered, but the perspective is anything but. It's a version of the story told through Pras's lens, framed by the people working to protect his image. And that's a pattern we've seen again and again. When a scandal breaks, Hollywood doesn't wait for closure. It starts filming. The result isn't journalism. It's usually a glossy mix of confession control and content. Now, if this sounds familiar, that's because it is. Hollywood has made a habit of turning scandals into content before the dust even settles. From Pam and Tommy to We Crashed, from The Vow to Depp versus Heard. The industry has learned there's money and prestige in retelling the mess. But lately, the subjects themselves are stepping into the director's chair. They're not just being documented anymore. They're rebranding. I mean, there's even a Charlie Sheen doc out right now. I'm not sure what his involvement is. I probably should have checked before I even brought it up. So, forget about it. That's the space this Pras documentary fits into. It's the collision of two industries, entertainment and reputation management. The goal isn't always truth, it's narrative control. And for Mark Wahlberg, this project lines up with the kind of stories his production banner has been chasing for years. Unrealistic Ideas built its name on real-world drama that blurs the line between documentary and docuseries entertainment. There was the Macmillans, Wall Street, Run This City. Each one takes real events and packages them with the pacing of a thriller. But this one is different. The cameras are rolling before the story's even finished. And Wahlberg isn't just producing a documentary. He's producing an ending that hasn't been written yet. So whether Pras was a pawn or a player, his version of the story is about to hit screens with Mark Wahlberg behind the camera. And when it does, we'll see which truth Hollywood decides to tell. So what do you think? Do you think that a documentary produced by the person the documentary is about, in terms of like a trial or a conviction, is it trustworthy? I mean, how did you feel about the Jussie Smollett doc that I think it was Netflix? I mean, I don't think it helped him at all, right? Because it's like, yeah, of course you're going to say you're innocent. You're basically in control. You're part of the production, right? Yeah, it's strange. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments below. And for more industry insights like this, check out this video right here. I almost forgot where I typically put the video.